So I wanted to do one real quick about swingers' ages. It looks like when you're online that most of them are in their 30s or 40s. Actually, the numbers go way up when they're in their 50s and 60s, and they go all the way up to, the numbers go all the way up into the 70s. The people in non-monogamous relationships are much higher past the 50s. So it's interesting that age doesn't seem to be a huge factor in the swinging lifestyle. Then there's some good things to be said about having swaps with older couples. Experience in sex is one of them. Calmness and less issues and emotional issues as couples is another plus to older couples, over 50 couples. Young, vigor, energy in younger couples can be very attractive. Things in common. There are people with sexual preferences of older people, and so those are all pluses to older people in the lifestyle. And of course, there's always beauty in others, in older ones and younger ones. So that's just a real quick comment about swinging couples and age. Thank you. So this is a follow-up to Nudity. It's a swingers guide, the secret religion of C&M, or consensual non-monogamy, but this is a follow-up to the Nudity. So we have a real problem in this country about nudity. It's a real distinction from our Protestant past and our deeply cultish religious past in this country. It's reported that in some states, that even talking about it or promoting it can get you in trouble, but I think those laws have been reversed from free speech point of view. But to go back, let's go back 70,000 years. It's seen that there are clothing starting in the human species about 70,000 years ago, and the clothing they think was to prevent problems from lice. The lice would go on the skin of the clothing and not in the biting the areas where humans are sensitive, and we're one of the few of the primates that are hairless, or relatively hairless. So that became a problem about 70,000 years ago. So when you come to the Judaism and Christian beliefs, they take a really weird turn. So the original story, and it's not just Jewish Judaism in the Pentateuch, it's actually in the previous stories of creation. There was a point in time where humans had great shame because of their sin. Adam and Eve had great shame because of their sin, and God asked them, "Why are you ashamed?" And they said, "Because why are you naked?" And why are you clothed? And they said, "Because of the shame." And so that became kind of the pretext religiously all over about that issue, where they think that shame and nudity are together. There is no shame in being nude. It was a interesting thing to read from God's point of view. So they failed at their clothing making concepts, and he helped them understand what clothing to wear. So that's kind of the beginning of the idea of nudity in both religions and some others, was that they had shame in their sins. I don't think nudity should be a shameful thing, in the sense that I'm sure there are places for nudity and places probably not appropriate. So that's kind of an ethical question, but to try and overly control it, it seems kind of an odd social contract, one that probably should be broken. We shouldn't be so paranoid about nudity. It's just body parts. That's where being a consensual non-monogamy helps you. I personally had not seen anybody, had not seen a male naked till I became a swinger, and I was in my 30s, so late 30s. So that's sort of a kind of a odd thing, I guess. I kind of skipped because of other things. I skipped the high school, gym thing, but that's how non-monogamy can help you. But I think that generally our views of nudity should be tempered with kind of a logic about it. I mean, it's very freeing to be naked. If I had to prefer, to sunbathe, it would be naked. If I had to prefer to sit around a pool, it'd be naked. Of course, they don't allow that in a lot of pools, but the nudity itself shouldn't be such a critical thing for people. They should just accept that underneath clothes, people are naked. And there's a direct line, there's not a direct line. You can be naked without being sexual. You can be naked because it's freeing, and if you haven't done it, go somewhere private, take off your clothes and sit in the sun, or, sit near the pool or whatever. There are clubs you can go to where you can be naked too. It's kind of an interesting experience. It's one of those you should probably explore. People are very uptight and has some emotional issues, so watch out that you can comfortably do it for yourself and whoever's around you. Make sure that your mate, if that's appropriate, understands that it's okay and it's okay with them. I've lived next to nudists, and we would look out our window and they'd be naked in their own backyard, and at the time we were really conservative. So I guess I have seen a male naked, but it was not close up for sure. So that was sort of like it wasn't close enough to talk about it. That's what swinging helped me with. So just the idea that, we shouldn't be ashamed of our nude bodies, and God was sort of mystified about it. So it's like, why would you be religious, in actuality be religious, and then be anti-naked? That's kind of an odd thing. Because and the people that don't see nudity then become a little bit hypersexual about nudity, and they see nudity and get an erection or get turned on. And those who are used to nudity, they go, okay, well, you're nude, that's fine. And that's another point too, for the pay for plays that have happened, especially since COVID, about all these women paying, trying to get guys to see them naked. Oh, wow. But if you're a swinger, that gets more and more old. Eventually you might want to see somebody naked that you're going to meet, but pretty soon you go, okay, they're naked, who cares? And that kind of like lowers your stress level too in public situations. You can kind of say to yourself, it kind of helps you in business, because I had somebody say, a woman, she's in an executive position in business, and she said, hey, I just say, what, I've seen guys like you naked, and it just like lowers the pressure between people, and you can just like be a outgoing person in business. She's not going to talk about it, but she's saying in her mind it helped her to realize that, hey, everybody's naked under the clothes, everybody's a human being. So that might be a good metaphor. There should be no shame to it, in my opinion. Right, if you disagree, but that's my opinion. Thank you.